It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know if I should do this, but I'm going to do it.
All right, do it.
Because I hate, because it sounds like that we have nothing to talk about if we lead with this, and there's a ton of issues out there. But it's going to lead to something else.
Okay, all right.
And this is where I saw that Whoopi Goldberg said, if you're going to the Super Bowl, get a Latin accent and tan or darken your skin. Because
okay.
with the whole big bunny, bad bunny,
mediocre bunny
thing.
By the way, that would be giving him an elevation. That should be a compliment. If you're a bad bunny and you become a mediocre bunny,
right.
That's an improvement, I think.
Somebody had this saw it the other day over the weekend, and it said bad bunny, and it's John Wayne in a huge bunny suit.
That's good. I like that.
It's like that was like, oh my gosh. And I don't know why, but every time I hear Bad Bunny, I just think of the kid walking down the stairs in A Christmas Story.
Yeah,
I don't know why, it just sticks in my mind. But when she, so she's basically trolling ICE and Kristi Noem, saying that everybody. So and I don't know even if the Super Bowl is loaded with illegal criminal aliens. I
don't know what the makeup of the crowd is any given year. I'm not sure.
Now, if the Dallas Cowboys make it, it had been a few years ago, the criminals would have been on the field.
Right. If you're looking to arrest people, it's going to interrupt the game.
But there was actually a serious point to make here.
Look, we're just throwing everything out here.
Did you see the guy that in the this is I just saw it the 30-second video.
Yeah.
Josh Allen on Sunday night threw a pass and it went right to a guy who was in the aisleway, who grabbed, the pass came right to him. He turned around and ran onto the stadium.
I didn't see that.
Got the football. I don't know if you're supposed to give it back or whatever.
Yeah.
And Mike Tirico was doing play-by-play. There he is, 10, 20, going up with the football.
I love it.
It was hilarious.
It's great.
But there actually is a serious point to be made here.
Okay, all right.
And it starts with The View and something last week. And I thought about this over the weekend and didn't even bring it up on yesterday's show, but I thought about it and went, I gotta bring this up.
Yeah.
When you had Sonny talking about the fact that you can't be pro-life and be pro-gun.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And she said she's pro-life.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what I was doing over the weekend when I thought about that. Just for a moment, I went, how did I miss this? Because we talked about it, and we said she was wrong and everything else.
Right.
But you think about it. If you're not willing to defend life from the evil people, if you're simply a mouthpiece who says, I'm pro-life, but I'm against the tool that you can use
to defend
life and save your own life, only the people that are truly willing to defend life can you consider totally pro-life.
Yeah.
If your goal with the gun, because we brought it up as we always do, with a gun is simply a tool. It's what you use with it,
right?
Like a kitchen knife.
Right.
It can be a baseball bat,
slicer, dicer,
exactly.
Right.
My fist.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Deadly weapon.
Right. Well.
Oh, okay. That's a little bit overboard.
Yeah.
But I was thinking. I just said, well, sorry. You can't just saying you're pro-life. I'm pro-life and I'm against guns. You mean you're against somebody owning a gun? Because as we know, 99% 99.9% of people who get a gun legally don't misuse it.
Right.
And they understand the seriousness of it. And millions of Americans and law enforcement have gone through training, preparation, taken time to learn how to use a firearm for a number of reasons, hunting, sporting, whatever, but also self-defense.
Right.
And what's the self-defense? You're protecting human life.
That's the idea. Yep.
If you're not willing to defend human life, if you're just willing to say it, I don't consider you pro-life.
Right. At least if you don't stand up for the right to do it.
Right. I'm not saying you. I'm not saying.
Yeah.
Be clear. I'm not saying we should mandate. Remember when it was like we need to mandate that everybody must have a firearm? We're like, no.
I think Penn Jillette, and it was tongue in cheek, but I think Penn Jillette said at one time. He said, "Look, I think everybody should be required to carry a gun on planes." It was again, but he was making the point. That it's and he's a he's a libertarian. I think most people know. But it's, that's the whole idea. And because we talk about the rights, we talk about our rights and our right to defend our lives, our property, our family, ourselves. This is something that is the foundation of this country. And I agree with you. It is part and parcel of being pro-life.
One of the things that I've seen lately, because the commercials are all over the place, I'm sure you've seen it, the Byrna launchers. I mean, it's just those everywhere I go, every streaming outfit, and everybody's like, "What's that banana? What's that banana?" And it's the non-lethal form. It's basically an air gun that has a pellet that you can get in it that has tear gas and pepper spray.
Right.
So you can shoot it from shoot it from like 60 feet away.
Right.
Most likely in a home, you're talking about 20 feet in.
Yeah.
And it hits you pretty hard, but it's the thing to disable you. And many people that may be uncomfortable with owning a gun are not confident in doing it. If you're not confident in owning a gun, I don't think you should own a gun.
I don't think so either.
But it's, are you willing to defend life by fighting back?
Right.
And if you
are you willing to stand up for other people's rights to do that?
Right. And the fact of what people, go through in their life in order to get a gun, you got to take time out of your life to do it. If you want to be properly trained, it takes time and all that. And so those are the people that are saying, I wish to defend my life and other people's lives too.
Yeah.
And so I just thought about that. It was like, I'm pro-life, but I'm against guns. Well, then you're not pro-life.
Yeah, right.
If you're saying I don't have a right to own a gun to defend my life and other people's lives, then you're not pro-life.
I'm against criminals. That's what I'm against. You and I guess we have to restate it. We are anti-murder, anti-crime. We are against crime. We are pro-lawfulness.
I'm not going to take the stapler from my desk here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to shoplift it, even though it's a nice red stapler. I'm not going to take it.
Maybe you should move your stapler so no one will take your stapler.
But I just when I saw the Whoopi thing, I went, I can't forget. I thought about that over the weekend with Sonny
that
Austin
people dress in brown face.
Yes. Well, I mean, she probably, that, her relationship with Ted Danson,
right.
That's sort of normal.
Yeah, that's where I was going with it.
Yeah, that Whoopi is saying people should go in blackface to the Super Bowl or brown face to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Latin accent, get a tan.
Right. Okay. That's not racist.
In February.
Yeah. All right. They're just weird. They're not, this is.
I know.
I had one of those days yesterday. I had a long talk with a long-time friend. And I've just come to the conclusion, because we were talking about, he lives in California and has for a long time. And he's conservative out there. And we had some, just great conversation. But it is something also that I'd been thinking about over the weekend. there are a lot of people in this society that just are not smart. They're just not smart people. And I don't take pride in saying that. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to say it to get any kind of response or reaction or anything like that. You and I don't carry those kind of bullhorns. It's true. There are a lot of people who are, I think, willfully ignorant, but beyond that, just plain stupid. And I thought to myself, because here's the thing, we're all born stupid. We know nothing at birth, nothing. And you got to learn it. You got to be curious. That's natural. Be curious. Learn something. Go out, learn something every day. More and more people just insist on all they do is repeat what they have heard. They just repeat it over and over again.
In a quote.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just maddening. And look, it's likely that it's, again, willful ignorance. I don't believe people are naturally stupid. I think you kind of have to work at it. I think people have to go out of their way these days with a smartphone in your hand to be stupid. I mean, the smarter the phones got, the stupider the people got. It's more stupider than it's ever been.
Well, when you think of the number of firearms in this country, and I don't even know the last figure I saw, and this goes back 10 years ago, was like 300 million.
Mm-hmm. A handful of those are mine.
298 million are Eric's. He doesn't live in a house. He lives in a fort.
Yeah. Well, when I come home, my wife says, "Welcome home, Mr. Wick." I don't know why she does the accent, but it's a thing. But no, I mean, yeah, no, it is. It tells you, and what the left wants you to believe is, and all around the world they trying to. Oh, it's so dangerous. It's so dangerous. When you take the criminals out of the equation, what are you talking about?
We're amazingly a tame, armed population.
Right.
When you think about it.
Yes. Which is your point, because if with that many guns in our society, look at the individuals that are, and it's the individuals, it's the people, not the inanimate object. Listen, I think if my guns could talk, they probably would tell me, hey, here's what they'd say to me every day. Let's go to the range. Let's go to the range. Let's go to the range.
And mine would tell me, you're a very lonely person who doesn't have much of a life.
Hey, is that a cat?
Could you can communicate with another life force besides a cat.
Yeah,
Make a phone call, for God's sakes.
Are you talking to a cat?
Go out for a beer. Do something.
Exactly.
Stop with the golf where you don't want to talk to anybody because you're focusing on your game. Communicate, for God's sakes. Well, let's get back to the topic at hand here.
Anywho, if but the guns are inanimate objects. It is the people with the guns and their intent, and everybody knows this, because you're just going out of your way to be stupid if you say otherwise. If you point at the inanimate object and blame the inanimate object, you're being stupid. You're acting stupid. I'm not saying you're naturally stupid. You might be, but I'm not saying that. You're just going out of your way. I got confidence in you. I think you're not a bad bunny. I think you're a mediocre bunny. Because you're putting in the effort. But if you say the inanimate object is responsible, you're just playing stupid.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about last week, where we started talking about things that are normal culturally in this country that aren't going to go away. And it's why. Well, but I'll tell you this: you look at, and we'll get into the whole thing about the Jay Jones thing yesterday. You had a few Democrats come out, but the number of Democrats that say, "No, look, this is nothing. This is nothing. This is nothing." Let me tell you, behind the scenes, Republicans are saying, "Gosh, I hope he continues to stay in for a couple of more weeks here. This is great. This is great," because it's so incredibly bad. But when it comes to most Americans, murder isn't right. Freedom of speech is something that they know about because we all know about our rights.
Yeah.
Obligations and responsibilities.
Right.
Well, we'll deal with that. Let our grandkids and great-grandkids deal with that with the debt.
Right.
But when it comes to our right, we all know our rights.
Yes. Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, if we were talking to infants, we would have to educate them on how things work. Very, very small children. And I know they act like children, but we're all adults here. Let's quit being stupid.
I know. That's the thing. I just shake my head. I couldn't do what Scott Jennings does. I did that. No, I did that for years.
Yeah.
I did that for years, debating with liberals who didn't want to actually debate. And that's the problem that Scott Jennings has, is they really don't wish to debate the issues.
Right.
They wish to sidetrack you. The whole children issue again. They're talking about, children were zip-tied. What are you talking about? What's the age of the children? You're talking about 2-3-year-olds? They were zip-tying and throwing in the paddy wagon?
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Because if we're talking about adolescents, we know that the gangs have a history of recruiting adolescents, and the safest thing to do is to get them restrain them, and get them out of that situation safely for their benefit and for the agent's benefits. Everybody benefits until we can sort who is who.
866-90 Red Eye.
Hi there, this is Hope with Mother Trucker Yoga, and this is your health tip of the day. Healthy driver, healthy diesel, powered by House. Your core is more than just abs. It's your powerhouse. And with all those hours sitting behind the wheel, weak core muscles can lead to back pain, poor posture, and even fatigue. Let's fire up that core. Sit up tall, away from the seat. Feel those core muscles turn on. Now, as you exhale, bring your right front ribs down towards your right hip. Tighten that core. Sit tall again, and then repeat on the left side, doing this 10 times each side. Let's target the obliques even more. Hike your right hip up towards your ribs, and then release. Visit mothertruckeryoga.com and houseproducts.com for more info.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. All right, just a second on this because this is like a flashback. I don't know. Is this a flashback to 2004? No, or no. The second Bush administration. Maybe it was even 2004. Babs is back. Barbara Streisand pushes the panic button. America in deep trouble. Rob Reiner, democracy is being taken away from us. We only have about a year. And I'm just really excited. Does this mean, is Green Day going to be doing a concert now in the next year?
Oh, yeah, I think they're doing cruise ships. They're doing the oldies thing.
America Idiot 5?
Yeah.
And maybe Rage Against the Machine. We need some good Marxist music.
I wrote a parody from American Idiot. It's about us, though. I like when Gary calls Eric an idiot. And then that's all. That's as far as I got. But it would work. When they tell me, or when they say, tell me where we're wrong.
No, American Idiot, American Moron, or American Imbecile.
Well, I guess it's American Idiot, isn't it? We'd have to rate that. I had another doctor actually write me. I've got to respond to him. Ask me, because the doctor told us the difference between the three.
Yes.
Right? There was actually a scale on the IQ scale. And another doctor wrote and said, hey, you got that scale handy?
So when his patients come in.
If you're consulting with a talk show about stuff like that.
His patient comes in going, what, you're not taking care of your diabetes? You moron! Or idiot. Imbecile.
Observing and analyzing the insanity. Eric Harley and Gary McNamara. Nightly on Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. You know, I want to touch base on this. It's interesting because I got a couple of emails saying, could you explain this? And it's the decision of the judge, Karen Immergut, to block the deployment of National Guard. And I saw this yesterday from Jonathan Turley. We explained it already. We said the law allows the president to do this. I mean, it's even stupid that we're talking about it, because you could sit there and line up the instances from Reagan to Eisenhower to Kennedy. You can go all the way through people that have used the National Guard. Presidents have used it to enforce federal law. And so it was surprising. Someone saw this from Jonathan Turley, and then I looked it up. And Turley's normally really good. The thing about Turley is he just doesn't tell you that the decision was right. He explains why. In this one, he doesn't. And he says the decision of Judge Karen Immergut to block the deployment of National Guard does not prevent the administration from flooding the zone with federal officers. The president can order the deployment of federal personnel from various agencies to protect federal buildings. And that's true.
Yep.
Right. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, the attacks on judges like Judge Karen Immergut must stop. The court's decision was based on a widely accepted view of the underlying law as well as the 10th Amendment. Well, I've never seen Turley get blasted as much as he did.
Yeah.
And not just, I'm not talking Bubba arguments.
Right.
I'm not saying Trump can do what he wants and Trump cares. Not that. Actually tearing apart the law and looking at the actual law that he used. And here it is, National Guard and Federal Service. All right?
Right.
Let me see. Last updated the law, October 5th, 1994. All right, here we go. 10 U.S. Code 12406. The United States or any of the Commonwealth or possessions, National Guard and Federal Service, whenever the United States or any of the Commonwealth or possessions is invaded or in danger of invasion by a foreign nation. All right, you can say, all right, that really doesn't apply. If you want to make the case you've been invaded by a foreign nation because of the gangs, and you could tie it back, and for example, in Venezuela, back to the government, well, yeah, you could make that case.
Right.
That hasn't been done at this point, right? But that's number one. Number two, there is a rebellion or danger of a rebellion against the authority of the government of the United States. There's a gray area there. You are rebelling against the authority of the United States government.
Yeah.
When those cars, and by the way, I had the local news story on that one from Chicago. We'll have that one coming up the way that they covered it, which was really good. Said, look how the local governments are covering this. Just like we played the commercial from Winsome Sears, the Lieutenant Governor of Virginia yesterday had the Jay Jones thing, and we said, look at how the local TV stations
You've said this for the longest time.
Are covering this.
Is that when you think you're going to win this on the left, the local media will step in. I mean, look at the Jussie Smollett thing. It was local reporters there in Chicago that started on that, basically on the investigative trail and pursued it. And we know how all of that turned out. And, of course, that's going to be the case because it is a big local story.
Number three, the president is unable with the regular forces to execute the laws of the United States. Number three, the president is unable with the regular forces to execute the laws of the United States. The president may call into federal service members and units of the National Guard of any state in such numbers that he considers necessary to repel the invasion, suppress the rebellion, or execute those laws.
Yeah.
Is there any gray area there?
No.
And this thing was just, you had the response to Turley going, look, here's the law. Please tell us where we're wrong. And he didn't respond. It's like, where are we wrong here? And you and I were asking the question yesterday, what are they? And we've done this. Sometimes we get into the minutia, and we hope it's not too minutia where you're like, oh, okay. I don't think that was hard to understand at all. That was pretty easy to look at the law and say, well, no, here it is. It's in plain English. And I know, and you know, that they can send a bunch of FBI agents, but when you're going to all these different cities to do this with ICE, you don't have the available personnel.
Right.
In the FBI, the ATF, whatever other federal agents you're going to send, you may not have enough to do that.
Right.
They're doing their own thing. And so you at that point, and the other thing is, as we pointed out yesterday with this judge, where she said it hasn't gone far enough. The danger, now I'm paraphrasing here, but this is accurate.
Right.
The danger isn't high enough to those ICE agents.
Like she is setting some arbitrary threshold as to what would then justify bringing in National Guard.
Right.
And she doesn't get to do that.
No.
You don't get to set this arbitrary threshold because what would that – tell me what that would be. Well, we need at least a number of agents to be
killed
or injured, or where is that threshold? In other words, it's not bad because nobody's been hurt yet. That's what I hear from that
the
statement.
Judge.
That
which is not the standard.
That isn't the standard. It's while detectives show up and investigate after a crime has happened, the reason we have patrol officers in neighborhoods
is to deter crime.
And hopefully prevent a lot of it.
Right.
Oh, well, no crimes. Sorry, we're not patrolling right now. There's no crime.
But the one thing that, and it's interesting how many people follow Turley and respect what he has done in doing it and are just, they said, we'll give you've always been great, so we'll give you some rope on this, but please explain.
Right.
And there's so many of the responses going, where are we wrong here? It's so crystal clear. The National Guard can be called in if the president is unable with the regular forces to execute the laws of the United States.
Right. Yeah.
Where's the gray area there? Does anybody see the gray area? I don't.
I don't see any gray area at all. At all.
And so this is where you get, this is fascist. This is the end of democracy.
Right.
This is
No. This is protecting federal officers, federal property. That's what you're doing.
Right. And to go back again, because we feel the need to do this because of the stupidity we see in the arena of ideas from the left. The president is unable with the regular forces to execute the laws of the United States. The law of the United States on illegal immigration is clear. Those laws were all passed by the Congress of the United States, which is the representative of the people of the United States.
Yep.
ICE is enforcing those laws. If ICE isn't enforcing those laws, if they're enforcing other laws that don't exist, we would be the first to say, stop it. But they are enforcing the laws of the United States, and the laws of the United States, again, from the elected representatives of the people.
Mm-hmm.
It is absolutely under the umbrella, because we know we're a constitutional republic, but a constitutional republic is, we need to use the word, the D word, is under the umbrella of democracy. There is nothing fascist about it. There's nothing Nazi about it. There's nothing authoritarian about it. All of it comes from the people of the United States through their elected representatives. And I know people are going, Gary, that's pretty good. I'm getting damn tired of saying it.
Well, I mean, it'd be one thing if we were, if you and I were teachers and we were talking to new first graders every year and we had to repeat it for that reason. But we're adults. We're all adults.
Remember last year, 1 + 1 = 2.
Listen, if you want a gold star, you have to download the app. Otherwise, no. We're going to call your parents, and no gold star for you. But this is it fits into everything, this overall observation, and it sounds overly simple. But it's just things have gotten so stupid. The fact that we have to say these things and then say these things over and over again. Because when you're dealing with the left, you are dealing with children and you are dealing with stupid. I'm not trying to get a rise out of somebody by calling people stupid, but stupid is as stupid does.
Oh, I forgot to wear my Gump. The Bills lost yesterday. I forgot I'll have to wear my Gump jersey.
I may not be a smart man,
I have
but
two football
I know who
jerseys.
Josh Allen is.
I have only two jerseys: a Gump jersey, number 44 in the red, and a Polk High number 33. Yeah, Gump is 44.
Yeah,
and a number 33 Polk High Al Bundy. Jersey, and they're regulation jerseys. They look great. People,
ice cream.
I wear them if I go out once a year when I go to see with my buddies, my Buffalo buddies, to see a game at Buffalo Brothers, and I wear it. Everybody comes up to me going, "Where did you get that from?"
Yeah,
and I don't know why, but it
might be a collector.
But it's very heavily male that ask me when I wear the Al Bundy one. The Gump one gets a lot of people go, "Gump, is that Forrest?" Yeah, this is his official 44 jersey.
Yeah,
when he played for Alabama,
right. Run, Forrest, run!
He is stupid, but boy, can he run!
Oh my gosh!
But yeah, it's I do expect at times, because at times it does feel like that we just repeat ourselves over and over again.
Yeah,
but it's because it's the same argument coming from the left, and I do expect once in a while somebody writing to me and saying, "Gary, we understand how the government works.
Right.
You know, you've said it a million times. We understand how it works."
Right.
I know you do.
Right.
They
Exactly.
don't, and that's the argument to defeat their argument. And when they're constantly insane on the same issues, on the same 10 issues over and over again,
right,
we have the correct answer, which happens to be the same every time.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what's going to happen tomorrow on Facebook? It's going to be all over the place. Hey, Whoopi Goldberg said they're going to be arresting people that have dark tans at the Super Bowl. Is that true? Seriously, it's just stupid. You really have to go out of you got to work at it. You got to work at it to be that stupid. I mean, that's work. Forget a college degree. Man, a college degree, all you got to do is go in and agree with the professor. Next thing you know, boom, sheepskin. But that kind of stupidity, to earn that kind of stupid degree, takes a lot of work.
What I'm always amazed by is that they have to sit in a meeting and workshop these things.
Yeah, they do.
Let's go with this.
Yeah. I'm going to tell people to wear brown face. I'm sorry, Whoopi, can you repeat that?
Might want to call Ted.
Yeah, exactly.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. It's been so crazy, I didn't even check the headlines of the Babylon Bee for the last 5 days or so. So I decided to go to it. All right. You ready?
What do you got?
Jay Jones unwinds after a stressful day by repeatedly stabbing his Republican voodoo doll. Oh, wow. This is my favorite, though. Trump signs executive order mandating the only artist who can perform at the Super Bowl halftime show is Creed. I was thinking, since Rush is doing a tour.
Yeah.
Adding the drum. By the way, she's a great drummer.
Annika Niles.
Yeah.
She's played with Jeff Beck. In fact, It was one of the crew members that also worked with Jeff Beck, that's a tech for Rush, and they suggested Annika, and she's unreal. She's great, and it's going to be really a celebration of their music.
Yeah,
and the way that Getty and Alex were talking in their video and their presentation. And I think it's a good thing for all of us Rush fans. I think it's great.
I was getting ready to do my show prep yesterday. I sat down, my cup of coffee, put on YouTube. The first thing that came up, it was like 1 minute after they put out the video.
Yeah,
both of them talking and saying we're going to do a tour, and I'm like, whoa,
nice,
wow,
yeah, it's going to be great.
Top of the Hour News is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the planet, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Well, we've received some response from our awesome listeners out there asking, what's going on with your podcast? It's shorter. What's happening? Just so everybody knows, on October 1st, last week, our radio show went to 3 hours.
Right.
Okay. Now, it's because it's played all across the country. There's different hours played, different and repeated hours and things like that. But we went to 3 hours, so our podcast is shorter also.
Right.
Our podcast represents a 3 hour show. Just so you know, all right, I'll speak for me first.
Okay.
All right. I don't want to speak for you here.
All right.
But when you do a negotiation, this negotiation was a long, long time. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to make this clear. We have a great relationship with our company.
Oh, we love it.
And
love being here.
When we started negotiations, it was something that was in the back of my mind to shorten it. I didn't think it was a possibility.
You and I have actually, to let people a little bit of a peek behind the curtain here, you and I actually have been talking about this for years.
Yes. It's very hard. First off, just so you know, we're the ones that pushed for this. It wasn't the company. It wasn't because the show was failing or anything like that.
No.
We pushed for this when we realized it was a possibility. Now, we don't negotiate. We negotiate through our agent.
Right.
And our agent, Paul's just a great agent, by the way.
Yeah, the best.
And so when it came to it, for me, I don't have any time to do anything anymore. To do a 5 hour show overnight at my age, 70 years old, from midnight to 5 a.m. was just getting to be too much. Not the show part of it.
Right.
But the fact I have no time to do anything in my life. People know of my family issues that I have with my father and how much I visit him and everything going on. I don't have time to do anything doing a 5 hour show overnight anymore. Part of it is because the news cycle has moved so quickly that you're always paying attention, always updating. Yeah. This actually gives me, because we've been doing it a week now, this gives me more sleep. Mm-hmm. My sleep has been better, and it makes it so I have extra time in the day to do things. So just want to let people know that this was our decision, because I did think about, working overnights, and I'm 10 years older than Eric. Mm-hmm. And part of it was, when you get into a year out, whatever, is it time for us, to see if we can get a radio show during the day or do a podcast during the day, because the overnights is just getting to be too much. But we love our audience. We love our radio stations. Yeah. We love the great, as we call it in the business, the great legendary real estate that we're on. We love being radio host and at the same time, because of the time that we're on, having a podcast of the show, which sounds more like a podcast because of the time of the day that we're on.
Right.
And so this was, for me, it wasn't even a compromise that we made with the company. I got everything that I wanted out of this. I'm speaking for me first, and then, you're probably a lot you agree with me on there, but
right.
I don't want to speak for you.
I have some names I'm going to bring up, but go ahead.
Well, I'm done. I mean, that's it for me. I will be more refreshed, and there comes a time in your life at this age where you've got things that you've got to do that are outside of work. I don't have to work.
Right. Yeah.
I don't have to do this job.
Right.
It's not like it's a financial necessity for me to do it.
Yeah.
I love doing it, and I love being on radio, and I'm a radio guy. I know we're podcasters because we have the podcast, but you were asked one time by somebody in the company,
an executive of
the company.
Yeah.
Well, what do you guys want to do? And you said radio.
Yeah. It's all I've known since I was 18. It's all I've known. And instantly fell in love with it. I mean, like everybody else, grew up listening to the radio. But when the first day I went to work in radio, it was like, oh, no, I have to do this. Yeah.
And part of what this executive was saying was everybody that wants to work there looks at radio as simply a stepping stone to TV.
Yeah.
You and I, the last thing we'd ever want to do is be on TV. So this was an opportunity to still have 3 great, solid hours of radio, 3 hours of podcasting during the day. We cover 24/7 still. And just let everybody know we pushed to get this. You and I pushed to get this.
Right. Yeah, this wasn't the company pushing this on us. And, the thing, too, I started this gig when I was 30. My kids were young. My youngest was 7. We adopted my current youngest, wasn't with us yet because we adopted her later. But I was working a radio job where I was going in at 7 a.m. and coming home around 9 p.m., which, I wasn't getting to see my kids except for on Saturday afternoon. And this opportunity came about with then back at WBAP, where before we went national, we were actually going national when I came on board, was the whole reason. But the country music songwriter and radio legend Bill Mack, I had an opportunity to work with him, but also be home in the morning, get my kids off to school, be there during the day if the school called, and be there. And, because I would get up and help them with homework and get dinner around and everything else. And it just worked and was a great opportunity. And then it grew into, even more after Bill retired. And then you and I started working together in 2005. And it's a long show. I mean, when I started, it was actually a 6-hour show. It was midnight to 6 Central. And yeah, crazy, huh? But there were
more music though, right?
Yeah, it was music, country music. We did talk segments, which is kind of why I was brought on. We were talking a lot of issues for the trucking industry, and there's still truckers are the backbone of our economy, but also the backbone of our audience. And the owner-operator, thanks to the Trump administration, I believe the owner-operator is going to make a great return soon. I see that rates are coming back for drivers. And there are a couple of things for me that are important to spend time on. I'm married with 4 children, and, my kids are adults. Our youngest is special needs. She lives at home, and she's my angel. I'm her caretaker during the day, but if we're honest, she actually takes care of me more than I take care of her. And in doing a 5-hour long show, it requires, there's a lot that it requires of you physically. And so after decades of doing that, I think it was a good time to pull back so that we could remain healthy while also presenting a great show, the best show we can every night, and that made sense. And there's also some side projects that are, under the company umbrella that I want to get moving. That also serve the trucking industry and a lot of things that, basically need my attention both at home and also around here, that I'm greatly passionate about all across the board. And I think an audience deserves the best of you. If you're going to show up, you don't go out there and wear yourself out, you know what I mean? And your health is everything. And you and I have been, fortunate enough to remain healthy, but that requires the sacrifice of a lot of other things. And so in this way, we can present the best show we can every single night, and we strive to do that. Everything is about this room. People should know that. You and I talk off the air, and I don't know if we've ever said it that way on the air, but everything comes back to this room. There is, of course, my family, my faith, and this country, but that all goes into what we do here. My everything, that I am. I talked to a friend of mine yesterday who works out in Hollywood, and he goes, well, how do you develop the persona? I said, it's not a persona, how do you become a presenter like you are, because he works in movies. And
Trial and error.
Well, it's, and I told him, I said, well, for me, you just had to learn, and it's the basics. You have to be yourself, and that requires you to, especially in opinionated radio, you got to put yourself out there, and you just basically you got to talk like a real person. But it is who we are. What you hear on the air, that's who we are. We don't try to be anything that we're not. I don't want to be. The first group that would call you out is a talk radio audience and America's truck drivers. Don't try and be something you're not. And so we strive to come in and deliver the best entertainment we can, best information we can, our opinions in the best, most thoughtful way we can. And that requires a lot. And I'll tell you, in the first week alone, I've gotten more sleep. My neurologist is going to be very happy with me. Yesterday alone, I went home and slept 7 hours, and that hasn't happened in a long, long time.
Yeah, just so people know, on the health issue, we have no major health problems.
No.
That wasn't a decision for Eric and I
to
push for the 3 hours.
No. It's about pacing.
I will say this, though. Part of me, because you and I have had these discussions. I'm making it sound like I'm telling my reasons and you're telling your reasons, but we've already had all these conversations.
Right, yeah.
Probably spent, 50, 60, 70, 80 hours over the last year discussing what we want to do with this particular age. And I will tell you this, it does get to be a little bit of a shock because the everybody that I was in radio with is now out.
Right, yeah.
Everybody's gone. There's nobody left.
Right.
And that I went to college with, the group of people that I got into radio with, everybody's out.
Yeah.
There may be one of them working part-time on a weekend doing a music show or something like that.
Right.
It's a hard business to do it. We love it, though. This business can eat you up, and burnout is – I don't have burnout. I haven't felt burnout in decades. I've had burnout from radio before, and it's not a good thing. But one of the things you and I thought of is we haven't had any major medical problems that are related to this show at all. Right. And while we can continue to do this, and we didn't want to go anywhere else. We didn't want to work for another company.
No,
we didn't want to just start a separate podcast outside of it.
We've never made that effort, and we could have, I guess. I mean,
we could have. Yes.
Technically, you can, but we're very happy because our company has been great.
Well,
to us.
when you have something that works, I'm not willing to give it up.
Right.
And so this was. This is a compromise, not with the company that we made. This is a compromise we made with ourselves.
No, it was because, again, you and I talked it out, again, for a long time before we ever approached them with it.
Yes.
And so that's where it is. But it's, and look, you and I, in our minds, we feel like we could sit here for 24 hours straight and talk And the fact of the matter is that it should be the best effort every night, but that requires rest. That requires. By the way, you do the same amount of show prep. It's not like you're going to go, well, there's now 30% of or 20% of the stories we're just going to just toss over here. No. You still have to, you're doing the same amount of work, but in a more concentrated form, and we want that effort, to be there.
Right, we're not going to talk Kamala anymore.
Yeah, right. Well, we are, but only for 107 more days. That's it.
No,
that's where we draw the line.
I'll tell you the greatest compliment that you can get. Our listeners that in the last week since we went to the 3-hour radio show, furious.
Yeah.
Absolutely livid. Now, here's how I look at it.
Yeah.
The first reaction is, these people are angry. Why are they angry at you? All right. They're getting now, because it was October 1st, 3 hours. This is just, I was telling this to a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Who is like, oh, God. And these are my best friends who insult me all the time. Think about this. Nobody has ever gotten 3 hours of me a day and asked for more.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right. No, I'm around the house a little bit more, and I guess my wife is probably thankful that she's asleep when I get home earlier. It's like, a little more of me. No, thanks. But it is a great compliment, and to our podcasters, by the way, the people who listen to our podcast every day, because a lot of them have their download set up on Apple, which, by the way, on iTunes you can get that set up so it's there for you every day, and we love the idea that, it's like, oh, guys, this was my morning routine. We're going to be there for you. By the way, we're not going anywhere. We're going to be there for you.
We're contractually obligated to be here for years.
Yeah, but for the remainder of that time that you used to spend listening to the longer version, get a life. And quit making this about you, would you?
866-90 Red Eye.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by House Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
Gardeners, getting the garden ready for overwintering and in good shape for next spring? What are some things to consider? Cynthia Domangini of Kansas State University Extension offers advice. Starting with,
if you have a large area, consider looking at cover crops. Some cover crops can be planted early fall time. That's a great way to protect your soil through the winter and contribute nutrients back into the soil for your spring planting.
Then there are the basic fall prep tips for getting a garden ready for overwintering to keep in mind.
Start cleaning up plant debris to prevent overwintering diseases and pests. If you would like to grow bulbs, planting those in the fall is important to get them to bloom in the spring. Some people have good intentions and they buy the bulbs, but they don't get them in the ground in time and they miss out on that spring blooming.
I'm Ron Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Coming up following the bottom of the hour, the whole Jay Jones situation here.
Wow.
Oh, did you see Morning Joe?
Mm-hmm.
Couple of Democrats coming out saying, he's got to go. But the vast majority of Democrats still endorsing him, saying, it's no big deal, just a private conversation. Republicans are salivating, saying, continue to do this. Continue to do this. Now, they're not saying that publicly, but you look at this and it's, as my father used to say, you're going to meet people in your life, in industry and business, that have a death wish.
Yeah.
And promoting something like this as being nothing is having a death wish. So we will get to that. Plus, some of the local news coverage on the Border Patrol and ICE in Chicago and what happened the other day and how the local news is covering it. Because when you see how the local news is covering it, you're going, okay. You cannot look at that as somebody who, unless you have complete Trump derangement syndrome, that would look at that and say, well, no, I understand why he's doing it. Sorry, you cannot ram an ICE agent's car and then surround them with 10 other vehicles.
Right.
You
No,
do that.
you can't.
You do that to cops. You do that. You do that to law enforcement. You may die.
Right.
You don't do that.
Right.
That's unacceptable.
They don't know if you're trying to run them over. They don't know when you're going to
No
stop.
idea. Nope. We'll get to that story and more coming up.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks for being here this morning. Download our Red Eye Radio app, and you can listen when and where you choose.
And thank you.
All right, so here it is from ABC 7 in Chicago. And it's always interesting to read how the local media covers an incident. Woman shot by CBP agent among two charged in alleged Brighton Park vehicle ramming, prosecutors say. A woman who was shot by a federal agent on Chicago's southwest side on Saturday morning is among two people facing charges in the alleged vehicle ramming incident that happened moments before shots were fired, according to federal prosecutors. New video obtained Sunday by ABC News shows another alleged vehicle ramming incident that happened Saturday on Chicago's southwest side. Miramar Martinez and Anthony Ruiz allegedly used their vehicles to strike another car with three U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents inside in Brighton Park. Prosecutors said Martinez and Ruiz then used their vehicles to box in the agent's car. The Department of Homeland Security said on Saturday that 10 vehicles boxed the agents in. Unable to move his vehicle, the CPB agent who was driving got out of the car and fired about 5 shots at Martinez with his service weapon. Martinez, who DHS says was armed with a semi-automatic weapon, drove off, but paramedics found her at a repair shop around a mile from the scene. An ambulance took her to the hospital where her gunshot wounds were treated. Ruiz also drove away, so they had separate vehicles. So you've got two vehicles ramming cars and then 10 others, cars surrounding the Border Patrol and ICE. Ruiz drove away, but law enforcement officers located him and his vehicle at a gas station about a half a block away. They're both of Chicago, are in custody, charged with assaulting, impeding, and interfering with a federal law enforcement officer. Video captured by a witness shared with the ABC News shows a uniformed officer can be seen pointing a gun. Ruiz's SUV is also seen at the gas station. Court documents say it's the same gas station where agents later detained him. Prosecutors say the two were allegedly part of a convoy that followed agents after a CBP operation. Sunday night, ABC 7 learned about an apparent second incident involving a driver ramming a federal vehicle. Video was captured from about 6 blocks north. The driver of the black SUV can be seen ramming into the back of a white pickup truck. Would you ever use your personal vehicle unless it was to save somebody's life? Would you ever ram your personal vehicle?
No, you're using it as a weapon.
Well, I'm talking about my insurance going up.
Man, this is going to mess with my rates, but here we go.
No, I'm driving. It's like I get to rent a car whenever I go see Dad. I'm checking for any scratch you can. Since I've seen now that, who was it? Not Budget Avis that I use most of the time, but I forgot which was it. National, the ones that are using AI, and they look for any scratch and they go, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, no. My first concern wouldn't be rates; it would be prison.
Right, prison. Yes, I just thought about that. Right, prison is a deterrent. I'm never going to ram a federal officer, but if I thought about doing that, I think I'm going to ram that FBI car. The thing that would stop me would be, Gary, do you like your freedom? Uh-huh.
Andy Dufresne first came to Shawshank in 1947 after using his own car to ram an ICE vehicle.
The driver of the black SUV can be seen ramming into the back of a white pickup truck with flashing blue lights. It was not clear who was driving the SUV. The SUV can be seen chasing the pickup towards the direction of protesters. A second black SUV slams into the first one in what appears to be uniformed officers jumped out. Several federal officers were hurt and taken to the hospital on Saturday. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing wrong there. That's what you do to invaders and fascists and Nazis, right?
That's actually what's going through the brain of these individuals.
I know.
They believe they're heroes. They don't believe they're doing anything wrong. That's where we are today. That's the radical left for you. They believe it is their duty to behave this way. Let's put some butts in prison for those that are breaking the law. Let's go. I mean, this is, again, so over the top and out of hand and dangerous.
Yeah, it's damn dangerous. And then you've got Pritzker, you've got the mayor. They're legitimizing this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Pritzker lying about it. He doesn't know. Oh, it's propaganda. That's not what's going on. It is what's going on.
It is. It is what's going on.
And you get to the point of saying, because you don't, we have never wanted to be, have a bullhorn and throw out over-the-top rhetoric. But I don't see anything else except lying about what's going on here. Again, 100% of the truth. The ICE agents are enforcing, God, I got to repeat it again, are enforcing federal law. The federal law was created by the Congress of the United States, which is the elected representatives of the people. If you say it's fascism and Nazi, in my opinion, you want violence.
Yep.
Because it's the opposite of what's going on. You might not like the law. Fight the law. Don't say that how it's being implemented is somehow fascist, authoritarian, or like the Nazis in World War II, because you couldn't be any more wrong. And so Pritzker, especially up there, when he says it's propaganda and everything that he's throwing, I mean, it's pure BS.
Yeah, it is.
And the only reason you would lie about something like that is because you want the violence to continue.
Yep.
What's the other reason? You're saying that the federal government should not enforce federal law in your state.
If you said one thing, if you said, look, we've made it clear we don't welcome this behavior by President Trump, but also what is clear is that you cannot break the law. You cannot target these agents. That's not Pritzker. That's not the left. The left is,
no.
and they're telling you, this is an invasion by Trump.
Yeah.
That's what they're calling it. It's an invasion. And you're seeing right now, I mean, the actual invasion is by foreign gang members. Yeah. This is who they're giving deference to. Foreign gang members who teach young kids as young as 11 or 12 to be violent. This is who they are. The foreign gangs and the cartels are laughing right now, along with Hamas going, we can't believe it. We're getting support. We're getting public support. We could damn near run for office.
Yeah.
because the Democratic Party would be on our side.
It's
Man,
insane.
we need to go to the convention. Let's go to the convention. We might get prime time speaking in the summer of 28. You know, you and I did that. It was, I don't know when we first started doing it. Probably 2020 or 21, where we were saying, my gosh, what's their convention going to look like in 24? Well, Kamala, joy. It was horrendous. But imagine the Democratic Party in 2028. What is that convention going to look like? What is that stage going to be populated with in terms of the individuals that'll be up there, but beyond that, the messaging and their platform and what they're standing on? We see it playing out every single day. Brian Thompson's murderer is being hailed as a hero. The assassination of Charlie Kirk is being celebrated by them.
You know, when you look at Virginia, for example, which is, Jay Jones from there, and we'll get to the specifics of him here in a little bit. But when you see, this is Virginia. And Virginia has, Democrats, but Virginia also has a heck of a lot of conservatives in there.
Yeah.
And you think about it, and I look at Virginia and I say, okay, is this the bellwether of what Democrats are thinking right now? That if you look even at the governor's race, the Democrats, she still promotes the radical transgender movement. The guy running for attorney general has talked openly, and more came out yesterday about the stuff he said. Well, if the cops are dead, then they can't kill you.
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing it, but I'm accurate as to what the messaging was on that.
Yep.
And so you see this, and you see the Democratic Party supporting it. The Democratic Party believes the reason they're not going to give up these is they view themselves in the polls as still competitive in a place like Virginia, and in some cases still winning these races in the polls, yet they still hold these unbelievable anti-U.S., anti-life, pro-murder, opinions, the insanity of the radical transgender movement, and that's why they're not moving. They look and they say, we know these are 80-20 issues, and people may look at the issues, but the fact is we're actually winning a lot of these races in the poll. It may not be the case when November rolls around because Jay Jones is a gift to Republicans.
Yeah.
But it's coming out absolutely perfectly clear where they stand, and they go, we're still competitive. Why would we change?
Right.
We believe we're still competitive.
Right.
And if we don't win, we can still be a very healthy minority.
Well, look, we're getting millions of votes. We have plenty of support.
Yeah.
We're winning. And in their minds, they believe they're winning. And in the blue states, of course, they're going to still control the blue states. They'll never lose control. In my lifetime, they're not going to lose control of the blue states and these major blue cities. Look, this is what they want. They want that local control. And people can leave those states, but they still have control of those states. And these are major states. California, Illinois, Oregon, New York. My gosh, the list goes on and on. And then the list of major metro areas that they fully control. They may look at it and go, who cares about the White House? Great, send Gavin, see what he can do. We don't need to win the White House. We'll control everything else from within because we're that powerful. And they're still getting those votes. Mm-hmm. They're not wrong.
Right. I mean, the 80-20 issues are out there.
Yep.
But they're still holding those 80-20 positions. They're the 20, but they're still, in many of the races, for example, in Virginia, still leading in the polls or competitive.
Yep.
And they're promoting pure insanity.
Right.
866-90 Red Eye.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. An update from a story yesterday. We talked about Mendami. Remember, we played the audio cut of him saying, well, we're going to have to raise on New York State, the New York State income tax and New York State corporate taxes, not just local.
Right.
Well, he's backed off on that now. He admits he might need a plan B. Hochul came out and said, we're not raising the rest of the state's taxes to support New York City. She's against because I thought, well, you're destroying yourself. If you know the culture of New York, which I know, and I mean not New York City, but outside of New York City,
right? Yeah.
And the culture is we have no representation because New York City dominates everything in our legislature, and we have no representation of where our tax dollars go, and too much of our tax dollars go to support New York City.
Right.
When you're from there, you know that, and that has existed. Oh, I don't know, over half a century. That mindset.
Yeah.
And it still exists today. So when I saw that, I wasn't surprised because that was the fear, as we told you yesterday. That was the fear going, well, it seems like the legislature is going to be fine in letting him raise taxes. Will they go any further? Because he's going to need more money. He can't get that money from raising taxes on just New York City residents.
Right.
What he wants to do, he needs to get the rest of New York to support him. Well, Hochul doesn't want that. She gets elected statewide. Well, New York City does control that. A lot of that, too.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.